As I was starting my journey of running large language models locally, I did a lot of research on YouTube, on Google, and through articles and forums. And I kept seeing the same motivations repeated over and over. People would say, run it locally for better data privacy, because your prompts never leave your machine. Or for flexibility, because you're not limited to the features an API provider exposes. And then there's the most common claim, that running locally is free. And it's this assumption that local inference is free that I want us to really focus on today. Hello everyone, welcome to Debugging with KTiPs. If this isn't your first time here, welcome back. Let's start with hardware, because that's usually the biggest hidden cost. To run a large language model efficiently, you need enough VRAM. A small 7B parameter model might run on a 12 GB consumer GPU, slowly but it works. But once you step up to 13B, 30B, or even 70B models, your GPU requirements increase dramatically. That means either multiple GPUs working in parallel, or a single very expensive card. For many people, that means buying new hardware. And we're not talking about a $100 upgrade, but sometimes $1,000 or more for a single GPU. And GPUs aren't the whole story. You also need sufficient system RAM, storage space, and cooling. These models are huge. Weights can be 20, 40, or even 100 gigabytes. Downloading them requires not just patience, but also a fast connection and lots of disk space. And once they're sitting on your machine, you're paying for the electricity to keep them running. A high-power GPU under full load can easily draw 200 to 300 watts, and if you're running long experiments or hosting the model continuously, those costs add up on your monthly energy bill. Now let's talk about time, because your time is also a cost, even if people rarely mention it. Running locally isn't plug-and-play. You have to deal with CUDA versions, GPU drivers, Docker images, Python dependencies, and configuration files. Things break often. And when they do, it's your responsibility to troubleshoot. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent scrolling through GitHub issues or Stack Overflow threads just to get a container running properly. And every hour you're fixing dependency conflicts is an hour you're not building the actual project you wanted the model for. So when people say local inference is free, they're not counting any of these costs: hardware, electricity, time, and even the stress of maintenance. It's free in the sense that you're not paying per API call, but it's not free in reality. You're just shifting the costs onto yourself, and sometimes those costs can be higher than using a cloud service. Now, that doesn't mean local inference doesn't make sense. In fact, in some cases, it's the best choice. If you're running workloads constantly, say you're a researcher training multiple fine-tuned versions of a model, then investing in hardware pays off quickly. Or if you're handling sensitive data, where sending it to the cloud isn't an option, local becomes less about cost and more about control and privacy. In these cases, the benefits outweigh the downsides. But if you're only running a model occasionally, or you just want quick and reliable answers without all the setup, cloud APIs often turn out to be cheaper and simpler. You pay only for what you use, you don't have to worry about compatibility or drivers, and you get access to models that might be impossible to run on your hardware. The key takeaway is this: running an LLM locally is not automatically free. It's a trade-off. You're exchanging per-call costs for upfront investments, higher electricity bills, and the hidden expense of your time. For some people, that trade-off is worth it. For others, especially casual users, the cloud is still the more practical choice. And in my next video, I'll tackle another big misconception about local AI: that it's always more secure and private. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy coding and debugging with KTiPs.